Hi guys, Dave here for Dave Outdoors. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'd just like to share with you about my Hungarian Zeltbahn, this fellow right here. I bought the Zeltbahn from New Zealand's main army surplus store called Army and Outdoors. It cost me about 20 bucks. When I was there I saw that they had two different sizes. This was the larger one. It looked like a newer model, a newer design, and it was slightly larger than the other. I've got it laid out here like this. This is in like a lean-to configuration. And I've got it laid out like this so you can get an idea of the sizing. It's not particularly huge. It functions as a poncho or a shelter. So kind of adequate for both, I guess. Not really luxury accommodation. It's made of cotton, and the only other changes to that are up here where it's got like an aluminium grommet and leather surrounding for strengthening. But the rest of it is cotton. And in here there's a big patch, which is kind of the advantage of cotton. You could sew another patch on, then just re-waterproof it, and you're up and going. Cotton, its value, it's not very good as an insulator. Not in winter time when you're looking to stay warm. Cotton's not a great insulator at all. But it's good for wind resistance, this kind of canvas. And it's also good for heat resistance if you're sheltering in front of a fire. When I bought it, it wasn't really waterproof. It was just exposed cotton. It's a very tight, very strong woven fabric, so it probably had some water shedding abilities. But I made a waterproofing beeswax solution, and I've waterproofed it myself. There's a video on that if you want to watch it. So it's fully waterproof now, maybe for a couple of spots, which I have to go over again. But other than that, it's a really great garment. There's different configurations. You have your poncho you can use it as. You could set it up in like a teepee configuration or like in a lean-to configuration, which I have here, lean-to shelter. You can also attach other Zeltbahns of the same model and make larger accommodation for one person or two people. They just attach along the sides here. There's other videos on that. I'm probably not going to get another one myself. I just want this one item. I'll just give you a quick rundown on how I carry it and how I set it up. I carry it with 3 pegs so that I can set it up as in different shelter configurations, just 3 pegs. And I carry these 3 pieces of cordage as well. They're just hanging from the coat hanger loop that you get there. And I just leave them hanging down. I'll show you how to set it up as a poncho. Set up the Zeltbahn as a poncho. First thing you got to do is set the hood up. This is the top of the hood here, the grommet with the leather reinforcing around it. That becomes folded under and sits on top of your head. The key thing here is these 2 connections here. 2 button connections there. That's only got 1 left. Should have 2. And over here as well. And there. These epaulets attached to those buttons. This epaulette on there, that epaulette on there, and vice versa on those sides as well. This is just a hanging loop for hanging from a hook for it to dry. A couple other features. You also have drawstring. You pull the hood around your head on either side. I had to replace these because they were missing from mine, so I put some in and sewed them back on again. And for the poncho, you also have armholes as well. So there's no sleeves on it. Your arms just come straight out of those 2 holes. Let's set it up for the poncho here. As you can see, in a heavy downpour, if you see a heavy downpour coming, get ready with the poncho first, because you're not going to throw it on like a raincoat. It takes a little bit of work. Only a couple of minutes, but enough to get you wet. And the final epaulette onto the buttons. Cool, that's that. So the 2 epaulets onto the 2 buttons, 2 epaulets onto those buttons as well. Let's put her on. got no zipper on it or anything, so just have to do it with the buttons. This goes around to about my calves. I'm 5'7", 1.7 meters, so it goes down to my calves, so reasonable size. And here's our grommet here, just folds underneath and sits on top of the head. Do that other button up. It's got 2 rows of buttons in here for when you're attaching another garment. Cool. You just need one for when you're making it into a poncho. And there's another drawstring here somewhere. Find the bloody thing. There it is. So that's up there like that. And just pull the drawstrings and you get a hood. So it's not too bad. The buttons go up further if you want. I can do one more right up to there if I need. And you can have it sitting back, or you can have it forward like that. You got a bit of a peak on it. It's quite a good item. These holes here for the arms, they have this one here has a number of buttons on it. It's got 2 different layers that you can button shut for when you may turn it into a shelter, just so you don't get the water running in. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the poncho. The reason for doing the hood, taking the time and doing those epaulets up properly, is because you'll feel the weight of this garment pulling on your head if you don't do those epaulets up on the inside. You just end up, you can see here how it sort of sticks out like that, but the shape of it is actually like that. And you can put a backpack on and it's fine. It's just like wearing like a raincoat or a proper coat. With that, I've tried it before without doing those epaulets up, and you just end up with this, the hood is in a triangular shape and it pulls all the weight of the garment, and your backpack comes straight down on the top of your head. So pretty bad for your C-spine. So that's the reason for doing up those epaulets. But it's pretty good, pretty good. And that's the poncho side of it. To set her up in a lean-to shelter configuration, start with your grommet again, and if you have a strong hook on the tree, just hook it straight onto it. In this case I haven't got one, so I'm going to use one of those bits of cordage that I carry. I just have a bowline at one end and open at the other. Just put it straight through. Done. And about chest height, and just tie it onto the tree. Straight up. Next thing I'm going to do, come right down the center line. From the grommet there's a sew seam all the way down, and I'm going to peg out that center. Pulling it taut and sticking a peg in. I have 2 more pegs left. Just going to come off to the side and do the same to the side. Just one end. And the other end. There you have it. Not huge amounts of space, but it can get you out of the weather, no problem. Bit more room up there, but I'm really quite curled up and down this end, and I just don't want to get muddy, so I'm not going to move. You can always, for better off for heat and real bad weather, you can lower this part right down to here and just stretch it out longer behind you, so this front portion can come right down. So yeah, not too bad. That's the lean-to setup. This setup here is the Teepee Shelter. It's not one I really use, and I've seen a few of them on YouTube, different people trying them in different ways, And when you do it with a single Zeltbahn, they don't seem to come out very well at all. When you double the Zeltbahns up, they do seem to come out a lot better, but a single one, just the shape of it doesn't seem to lend itself to being this sort of a configuration very well. It takes 5 pegs along the bottom. It's got peg out holes the whole way around, and yeah, I guess it could be an outhouse if we're a camping trip or something, I don't know. I'll get inside of it. Bit of room in here, but not much to lie down. The kids would have fun playing in it, I guess. But yeah, I don't really use this sort of setup. If I do anything, I use it as a lean-to shelter or a poncho. But you can have a pole up here if you want. If it's got the plastic cover on the top of the pole, it'll help with the waterproofing. But when I have done it like this, I just tie it to a branch overhead and let it hang down, which makes a worse configuration. The sides tend to fold in on you a bit more. But either way, I don't think as a teepee it's very good. So that's my Zeltbahn. I'm very pleased with the purchase. And yeah, I thought it was good for 20 bucks. And then a quick waterproofing job on it. Not quick, but got a good waterproofing job done on it. I thought it was a really, really good purchase. So my primary use for this is as a poncho or as a lean-to shelter. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Please leave any comments and any ideas and anything like that at all down below, and I'll get to them and answer them. See you on the next video.